Chosen ones, there are moments that do not begin on earth, moments that are not born of human planning or human desire, moments that are not announced by trumpets in the streets or headlines on screens. They are conceived beyond what eyes can see, formed in the unseen, sealed long before the clock on the wall ever reached this hour. This night was marked in heaven. It was not accidental that breath still fills your lungs, not coincidental that your heart continues to beat, not random that you are hearing these words now. There are nights that pass like any other, and there are nights that carry assignment, nights that separate yesterday from what is about to be revealed. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. This is not merely a season, it is a summons. There are people who sleep through divine moments, and there are people whose spirits remain awake even when their bodies are weary. You have felt it stirring within you, that quiet unrest, that sense that ordinary explanations no longer satisfy the hunger in your soul. The routines that once felt safe now feel small. The voices that once guided you now sound distant. This is not confusion, it is awakening. Deep calleth unto deep, Psalm 42:7, and something eternal is calling to what was planted inside you before you ever learned your name. Heaven does not mark nights without intention, and it does not prepare paths without preparing people to walk them. Preparation is rarely comfortable. It often begins with shaking, with the removal of what cannot travel with you into what is next. Many have mistaken this discomfort for abandonment, but it is alignment. For whom the Lord loveth he correcteth, Proverbs 3:12, and correction is not rejection, it is refinement. Gold does not argue with fire, and the vessel does not question the hands that shape it. What you have endured was not designed to destroy you, but to reveal what could not be revealed in ease. The pressure you felt was evidence that something valuable was being formed. There are things that have been falling away from your life, not because you failed to hold on to them, but because they were never meant to cross this threshold with you. Certain relationships, certain habits, certain versions of yourself cannot survive where you are being led. Every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. John 15:2. Increase requires cutting, and preparation requires separation. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. This night was marked in heaven because there is a calling that cannot wait for another season. There are assignments delayed not by lack of power, but by lack of readiness. Strength without discipline becomes destruction, and knowledge without obedience becomes pride. That is why preparation comes before promotion, why the wilderness precedes visibility, why silence often precedes a voice that will carry weight. Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. 1 Peter 5:6. Due time is not a date on a calendar. It is a condition of the heart. You have been taught to measure readiness by outward signs, by resources, by applause, by approval. Heaven measures differently. It looks for obedience when no one is watching, for faithfulness in hidden places, for integrity when compromise would be easier. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. The unseen choices you have made are not forgotten. Every time you chose truth over convenience, every time you chose patience over impulse, every time you chose obedience over explanation, something was being recorded beyond human systems. There is a reason opposition increased when you decided to take your walk seriously. Resistance is not proof that you are off course. Often it is confirmation that you are aligned, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers. Ephesians 6:12. What has been resisting you is not afraid of who you are, but of who you are becoming. That is why preparation is urgent now. An unprepared vessel cannot carry what is coming without spilling it, and an undisciplined life cannot steward what requires endurance. This night calls for awareness, not fear, but clarity. The days ahead will demand discernment, because not every open door is permission, and not every opportunity is assignment. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. 1 John 4:1. Preparation sharpens discernment. It teaches you to hear beyond noise, to see beyond appearance, to wait when impatience feels justified. Those who rush often arrive early to places they are not ready to stand in. There are prayers you prayed long ago that are now approaching fulfillment, but fulfillment without preparation can become burden instead of blessing. That is why some answers seem delayed, why some doors remained closed despite persistence. It was mercy disguised as denial. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it. Habakkuk 2:3. Waiting is not wasted time, it is training time. In the waiting, your roots grow deep enough to support what will soon be visible. You were not chosen because you were flawless. You were chosen because you were willing to listen, willing to change, willing to obey, even when understanding lagged behind instruction. Heaven does not search for perfection, it searches for surrender. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. Psalm 5:117. Broken does not mean destroyed, it means yielded, teachable, open to shaping. This night asks you to take inventory, not of what you lack, but of what you carry that does not belong in the next chapter. Bitterness will weigh you down, pride will blind you, fear will paralyze you. These are not small matters, they are hindrances. Lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. Hebrews 12:1. Preparation is not about adding more, it is often about releasing what no longer serves the calling. There will be voices that misunderstand this season. Some will call it withdrawal, others will call it weakness, others will accuse you of changing. They are not wrong, you are changing. Growth always looks like loss to those who benefited from your former limitations. Do not explain what heaven is doing in you to those who cannot hear beyond the surface. Cast not your pearls before swine, Matthew 7:6. Not everyone is meant to have access to every layer of your process. This night was marked in heaven because timing has shifted. What once required effort will soon require obedience. What once demanded striving will demand alignment. But alignment does not happen accidentally. It is cultivated through prayer that listens as much as it speaks, through fasting that quiets the flesh, through the word that renews the mind. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Psalm 19:10. Light does not remove the path, it reveals it step by step. You have been prepared through disappointment, through delay, through doors that closed without explanation. Each moment trained you to trust beyond what you could see. Trust is not passive, it is active dependence. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. Preparation teaches you when to move and when to stand still, when to speak and when silence carries more authority. The calling ahead of you will require endurance, not excitement, not emotion, but perseverance. There will be days when confirmation feels distant, when obedience feels heavy, when the cost feels higher than expected. That is why preparation now is essential. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. Strength is renewed in waiting, not in rushing ahead of instruction. This night invites you to consecration, to a renewed commitment to live set apart, not in isolation but in purpose. Set apart does not mean removed from people, it means governed by a higher standard. Be ye holy, for I am holy. 1 Peter 1:16. Holiness is not about appearance, it is about alignment. It is choosing what is right when what is easy is available. Choosing truth when compromise promises speed. There are destinies connected to your obedience, lives that will be impacted by your preparation, paths that will open because you willing to be ready before being seen. This is why the refining has been intense. Impact always demands preparation. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Luke 12:48. What is coming will require wisdom, restraint, compassion, and courage cultivated long before the moment arrives. Do not measure this night by emotion alone. Some divine moments arrive quietly, without tears or trembling, but they still alter direction. The marking is not always felt. It is often revealed later through fruit. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Matthew 7:16. Watch what begins to grow from this night forward. Watch what clarity replaces confusion, what peace replaces striving, what discipline replaces disorder. This is not the end of your preparation. It is a deepening of it. There are layers yet to be refined, perspectives yet to be renewed, strengths yet to be stabilized. Remain teachable, remain attentive, remain obedient. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Proverbs 3:6. Direction flows to those who acknowledge authority beyond themselves. As this night continues, let your heart remain open, your spirit attentive, your posture surrendered. Do not rush to label what is happening. Allow it to unfold with patience. Some things cannot be rushed without being ruined. The marking in heaven does not fade with morning light. It follows you into the days ahead, shaping decisions, sharpening discernment, strengthening resolve. Prepare. Ration is not a single moment. It is a posture you carry, a readiness that stays alert, a willingness that says, even now, even here, even without full understanding, I am ready to be shaped, ready to be refined, ready to walk forward when the next instruction comes, ready to let go when release is required, ready to stand firm when pressure increases, ready to continue even when the path narrows and the silence deepens, ready to move in faith as the unfolding continues and the weight of what has been marked begins to press more clearly upon your spirit, calling you not backward, not sideways, but steadily forward into what has been prepared as the night still breathes with purpose and the work within you continues without pause. The unfolding does not rush, because what is being built is meant to last. There are foundations that crack under speed, structures that collapse under premature weight, lives that fracture when elevation arrives before stability. That is why this preparation presses inward before it ever manifests outward. You are learning how to carry weight without losing balance, how to hold responsibility without losing humility, how to walk in authority without severing dependence, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Zechariah 4:6. The strength you are receiving now is not loud, but it is enduring. There is an invitation in this season to deepen your inner life, not to perform, not to impress, not to appear strong, but to become rooted. Roots grow. W in darkness, unseen and unnoticed, yet they determine how high the branches can rise without snapping. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, for he shall be as a tree planted by the waters. Jeremiah 17:7-8. The deeper your trust, the steadier your growth. What is hidden now will sustain what becomes visible later. You are being taught to listen beyond urgency. Many mistake urgency for instruction, pressure for direction. But preparation trains you to discern timing. There is a time to speak, and a time to remain silent, a time to act, and a time to wait. A man's heart deviseth his way, but the Lord directeth his steps. Proverbs 16:9. Direction unfolds step by step, not all at once. You are not meant to see the entire path, only the next obedient move. This night carries a refining of motives. It is possible to do the right thing for the wrong reason, to pursue calling for validation rather than obedience, to desire impact more than alignment. That is why hearts are being searched now. Create in me a clean heart, Psalm 5:110. Clean does not mean flawless, it means undivided. An undivided heart can endure delay without resentment and success without arrogance. There are lessons you could not learn in peace that you have learned in tension. There are truths you could not receive in abundance that you received in lack. Scarcity taught you dependence. Delay taught you patience. Silence taught you discernment. None of it was wasted. All things work together for good to them that love God. Romans 8:28. The good is not always comfort, often it is character. You are learning to stand without applause. This matters because visibility will come, and when it does, the temptation to draw strength from affirmation will increase. Preparation teaches you to draw strength from truth instead. For do I now persuade men or God? Galatians 1:10. When approval becomes your fuel, compromise becomes your companion. But when obedience is your anchor, stability follows you into every environment. This night also marks a recalibration of expectations. Some of what you imagined will look different than you thought, not lesser but deeper, not smaller but truer. Heaven rarely fulfills expectations the way the mind rehearses them. Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, 1 Corinthians 2:9. Surprise is part of the unfolding. Remain flexible. Rigid expectations can cause you to miss living provision. You are being trained to recognize when to release control. Control feels like safety, but it often limits movement. Faith requires open hands. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. Commitment is not clinging, it is entrusting. What you place into faithful hands is not lost, it is multiplied according to purpose. This season will sharpen your discernment regarding voices. Not every voice that sounds wise carries truth. Not every agreement confirms alignment. Preparation teaches you to weigh words, not just receive them. My sheep hear my voice, John 10:27. Familiarity with that voice is cultivated in quiet obedience, not in noise. Spend time listening, not only asking. There will be moments ahead when loneliness presses close, not because you are abandoned, but because you are being taught to stand without leaning on substitutes. Some connections were supports, not assignments. Their absence reveals where dependence had replaced trust. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, Psalm 23:1. When that truth settles deeply, lack loses its power to define your direction. You are also being trained to forgive without explanation, to release without apology, to bless without acknowledgement. These disciplines protect your heart from becoming hardened by offense. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Luke 6:37. Forgiveness is not agreement, it is freedom. What you refuse to release will demand continued attention. What you release loses its hold. This night was marked in heaven because a shift in authority is approaching. Authority is not volume, it is weight. It does not demand attention, it commands respect through alignment. Authority grows in obedience long before it is exercised publicly. He learned obedience by the things which he suffered. Hebrews 5:8. Suffering did not weaken you, it trained you to carry responsibility without collapsing under it. Preparation also refines your understanding of power. Power is not domination, it is service. It is not control. It is stewardship. Whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. Matthew 20:26. The posture you adopt now will determine the influence you carry later. Influence without humility fractures communities. Humility sustains impact. You may notice an increased sensitivity in your spirit, an awareness of things that once passed unnoticed. This is not fragility, it is discernment being sharpened. With sensitivity comes responsibility. To him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin. James 4:17. Awareness invites action, not guilt. Respond with obedience, not condemnation. There will be days ahead when obedience feels costly, when the easier path presents itself convincingly. Remember that preparation trained you for this. Cost does not mean wrong. Sometimes it means weighty. Enter ye in at the strait gate. Matthew 7:13. Narrow paths protect purpose. Wide paths invite distraction. You are learning to value consistency over intensity. Intensity fades, consistency builds. Small, faithful steps create endurance. Let us not be weary in well-doing. Galatians 6:9. Weariness does not disqualify you, quitting does. Rest when needed, but do not retreat from purpose. This night also marks a call to guard what you consume, not only physically but mentally and spiritually. What enters the mind shapes perception. Whatsoever things are true. Think on these things. Philippians 4:8. Preparation trains you to choose inputs intentionally, knowing that clarity depends on focus. You are being invited to trust process over immediacy. Process feels slow because it works beneath the surface. It builds stability that sudden breakthroughs cannot sustain alone. He which hath begun a good work in you will perform it. Philippians 1:6. Completion belongs to the one who started the work. Your role is participation, not perfection. There will be confirmations along the way, gentle reminders that you are not walking alone. Sometimes they will come through scripture that speaks directly into your situation, sometimes through unexpected peace in the midst of uncertainty. My peace I give unto you. John 14:27. Peace is not the absence of trouble, it is the presence of trust. This season trains you to carry hope without denying reality. Hope does not ignore difficulty, it anchors beyond it. Hope maketh not ashamed, Romans 5:5. What you hope for now is being shaped into something sturdier than imagination alone could form. You are also being taught patience with others. As you grow, you will notice differences more clearly, limitations more visibly. Preparation reminds you that growth is personal, not competitive. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? Romans 14:4. Compassion preserves unity. Judgment fractures it. This night continues to work quietly, even when nothing seems to be happening. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Seeds germinate underground long before breaking through soil. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 4:6-10. Stillness is not inactivity, it is attentiveness. As days unfold, you may sense a renewed clarity about what matters and what does not. Distractions lose their appeal. Noise feels heavier. This is alignment sharpening focus. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Matthew 6:33. Priority determines pace. When priorities are clear, decisions become lighter. You are learning to speak with intention. Words carry weight. Preparation teaches restraint, knowing that not every truth must be spoken immediately. Not every insight must be shared publicly. There is a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Ecclesiastes 3:7. Wisdom discerns timing, not just content. This night also carries healing, not always dramatic, but steady. Wounds that once dictated reactions begin to loosen their grip. Healing restores perspective. He healeth the broken in heart. Psalm 147:3. Healing does not erase memory, it removes control. You are being prepared to stand in places where clarity is rare, to offer stability where confusion reigns. That requires inner anchoring. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doeth them, upon a rock. Matthew 7:24. Foundations built now will hold under future storms. Do not rush to define the outcome of this season. Let it unfold. Some answers will arrive gradually, others suddenly. Trust the unfolding. The steps of a good man are ordered. Psalm 3:7-23. Ordered does not mean hurried, it means intentional. His night remains active, still shaping, still refining, still aligning. As you move forward, carry awareness, not anxiety. Carry expectation, not pressure. Preparation continues in choices, in obedience, in quiet trust, in daily faithfulness. Remain open, remain grounded, remain responsive as the work continues to deepen, as readiness continues to mature, as the path continues to reveal itself one step at a time, and as the marking made beyond sight continues to echo within you, calling you onward, drawing you forward, sustaining you as the unfolding goes on without finality, without closure, without pause, inviting you to keep walking, keep listening, keep trusting as the preparation remains active and the journey continues. As you continue forward, understand that preparation reshapes how you perceive resistance. What once felt like obstruction begins to reveal itself as instruction. Delays teach you where to strengthen patience. Closed doors teach you discernment. Opposition teaches you endurance. None of these lessons are comfortable, but all of them are necessary. Tribulation worketh, patience and patience, experience and experience, hope. Romans 5:3-4. Hope that has been tested stands firmer than hope imagined. There is a refining taking place in how you respond, not just in what you do. Reactions once fueled by emotion are being replaced with responses shaped by wisdom. This is maturity forming quietly. He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty. Proverbs 16:32. Strength is no longer measured by force, but by restraint. Power is no longer proven by reaction, but by composure. You are learning how to remain steady when circumstances fluctuate. Preparation teaches stability in uncertainty. When clarity feels distant, you anchor in truth. When answers are delayed, you lean into trust. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Sight changes daily. Faith remains anchored beyond what shifts. This season sharpens your ability to wait without growing bitter. Waiting tests motives. It exposes impatience disguised as passion. It reveals whether obedience is conditional or absolute. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Isaiah 40:31. Renewal happens in waiting, not in rushing past instruction. There is also a call to consistency when motivation fades. Feelings fluctuate, but discipline sustains direction. Preparation trains you to move forward, even when emotion is absent. Blessed is the man that endureth temptation. James 1:12. Endurance builds resilience that excitement alone cannot sustain. You are being shaped to carry responsibility with grace. Responsibility without grace becomes burden. Grace without responsibility becomes complacency. Balance is cultivated through obedience over time. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. 1 Corinthians 4:2. Faithfulness is not dramatic, it is steady. This night continues to deepen your awareness of purpose beyond purse. Onal fulfillment. Purpose extends outward. It touches lives you may never meet, impacts paths you may never trace. Preparation aligns you with responsibility beyond yourself. For we are members one of another. Ephesians 4:25. What you carry is not meant to end with you. You may notice that certain desires have changed. What once felt urgent now feels secondary. What once seemed essential now feels optional. This shift is alignment, not loss. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Psalm 37:4. Desire is refined before it is fulfilled. This season trains you to listen carefully, not only to words but to timing. There are moments when silence speaks more clearly than instruction. Preparation attunes you to subtle guidance. The meek will he guide in judgment. Psalm 25:9. Guidance follows humility. You are learning to discern between opportunity and assignment. Not every good option aligns with purpose. Preparation sharpens discernment so that distraction loses its appeal. Many are the plans in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of the Lord that shall stand. Proverbs 19:21. Counsel outlasts impulse. There will be moments when progress feels slow. Growth does not always announce itself. Often it reveals itself later through stability where chaos once ruled. Despise not the day of small things. Zechariah 4:10. Small steps compound into enduring strength. This night continues to invite surrender in layers. Each LA year released reveals another area to trust. Surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. Yield yourselves unto God. Romans 6:13. Yielding removes resistance that delays peace. You are also being trained to recognize when rest is obedience. Overexertion can masquerade as dedication. Preparation teaches balance. He giveth his beloved sleep. Psalm 127:2. Rest restores clarity. This season refines how you carry truth. Truth spoken without love fractures connection. Love without truth dilutes purpose. Preparation teaches balance. Speaking the truth in love, Ephesians 4:15. Balance preserves integrity. You are learning to remain grounded when recognition is absent. Visibility is not validation. Validation flows from alignment. Your Father which seeth in secret himself shall reward thee openly. Matthew 6:4. Reward follows obedience, not display. This night also strengthens your ability to endure misunderstanding without defensiveness. Not every accusation requires response. Preparation teaches silence when explanation would only distract. Jesus held his peace. Matthew 26:63. Silence can carry authority. As you grow, expectations will shift. People may expect more. Preparation equips you to respond without resentment. Unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. Luke 12:48. Responsibility expands with readiness. You are being shaped to carry clarity in complex environments. Complexity demands patience. Preparation trains you to untangle without force. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask. James 1:5. Wisdom unfolds gradually. This night continues to refine your relationship with time. Urgency loses control, patience gains ground. 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday. Psalm 94. Perspective calms anxiety. You are learning to trust provision without manipulation. What is meant for you will not require compromise to obtain. The Lord shall supply all your need. Philippians 4:19. Provision follows obedience. This season also trains you to release outcomes. Obedience is your responsibility, results are not. So then neither is he that planteth anything, neither he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. 1 Corinthians 3:7. Release restores peace. There will be moments when doubt whispers quietly. Preparation teaches you to answer doubt with truth. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? Psalm 42:5. Questioning doubt weakens its grip. You are being trained to remain teachable even when experienced. Growth does not end with knowledge. Let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. 1 Corinthians 10:12. Humility preserves stability. This night continues its work through daily obedience. There is no shortcut around faithfulness. In due season we shall reap if we faint not. Galatians 6:9. Harvest follows perseverance. You are learning to trust the unseen work. What is forming within you now will soon support what emerges outwardly. For our light affliction worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. 2 Corinthians 4:17. Wait requires preparation. This season invites deeper trust in timing. Premature exposure can damage what is not fully formed. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Beauty unfolds when readiness aligns with moment. You are being prepared to stand firm when others waver. Stability becomes influence. Be steadfast, unmovable. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Steadfastness builds trust. This night continues without announcement, without spectacle, without finality. It moves through choices, through obedience, through trust exercised daily. Preparation deepens quietly, aligning heart, mind, and steps. As you continue forward, remain attentive, remain responsive, remain grounded. The work unfolds steadily, layer by layer, strength upon strength, clarity upon clarity, as the marking continues to shape direction and readiness continues to mature, drawing you onward without closure, without conclusion, as the journey remains in motion and the preparation continues to speak within you. Chosen ones, as you stand at the edge of what has been quietly forming, remember that preparation is not a pause in your story, but the proof that it is unfolding exactly as intended. What was marked in heaven has been working patiently within you, A. Lining your heart, steadying your steps, and shaping your spirit to carry what is ahead with wisdom and humility. Do not rush the becoming, and do not underestimate the power of faithfulness in unseen places. Faithful is he that calleth you, who also will do it. 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Walk forward with trust, grounded in truth, anchored in obedience, and confident that what has been prepared for you will meet you at the appointed moment, not by force, not by haste, but by alignment, as you continue to move with readiness, reverence, and unwavering trust into all that has been set before you.